double click on it, you mentioned kind of why value is much more the strategy of the day, and the future of where we're headed versus more of the SEO kind of content. Do you want? I'd love to hear maybe a little bit more if you've got a point of view there.
Yeah, I think that marketing is one of those things that has very distinct movements because people get kind of inured to whatever it is that you've been doing for a while. So
Mm,
I'd say early on, you have just like basic digital advertising through like social channels. And then the reason that content marketing, I think, started to have this ascent is because those stopped being as effective and people
yeah,
wanted a more consultative approach to why they should buy something rather than just being told to buy the thing in a
right.
novel way. They wanted to have their questions answered. They wanted the company to sort of take a step toward them and say, like, here's why it's good for you. And now I think we're in this third wave following content that is more community based and more user generated content based, where people don't want to hear that they should buy the thing or that the thing is valuable from the company. They want to hear it from the people who have been impacted positively by the company. And community can really amplify that type of message. So I think that that's what we're seeing increasingly is
Yes.
especially with the saturation that's sort of matching how crowded a lot of these primary text spaces are. Like getting a key ranking for a keyword on the first page, like tasks, is almost
Yeah.
impossible because there's so many people going after the same space. So if you
Right.
have to figure out what your wedge is, starting to take either a more editorial or a more community based approach, I think
Yeah.
is interesting.
I love it. Do you think there's any? I'm maybe speaking to any. I don't know if the word pessimists in the audience or whatever, but folks that are like, I love it. Like I'm totally into this, but I still have a number as a content team, or at least I'm measured by kind of some type of performance number. Can you? How do you measure the success of editorial or community driven type of content programs relative to the more, at least what's been written on, organic traffic and, rank positioning and all these types of things?
Yeah. Well, I think that the first thing is that it's always good to stick with what you know is working and then place big bets alongside
Yeah.
those things. So, can I do 75% of what I know is still producing the results that I'm being measured against? And can I
Yeah.
place a large bet next to that with 25% of my time and energy that will hopefully get me more? I do think that content is less about converge. This is just my opinion. I
Yeah.
know that this is kind of not what everybody thinks, but content is more useful for like awareness building, I think, right now than it is for
Hmm.
conversion in a lot of ways. I think that user education, which is like a type of content, is probably more
Hmm.
in that conversion space, or like webinars or stuff where you like once you have somebody in your marketable database, you can send them emails or provide them content that helps them move down the funnel. But just
Yeah.
general posts like on your blog, I think unless they're angled at awareness, they're probably not going to help you hit the conversion numbers that you're looking for.
Yeah.
And then on the community side, in terms of how to measure that, or the user generated side, we had to come up with a bunch of sort of like novel, cobbled together ways that we knew we're not going to 100% cover it, but would get us some signal on where we should be placing more investment. So the North Star that we had on our brand team that covered all of these efforts was net new visitors to the website. And if we could increase that number month over month, we would know that we were continuing to build our brand awareness. So I actually really liked it as a proxy for trying to understand that. And then we used on the community side affiliates and UTM
Okay.
codes that we equipped our community members with for all of their various efforts out in the world to understand how much traffic those were driving. And then a big offshoot of this was our influencer program, which I'm also
Yeah.
happy to talk about since it's super
Cool.
adjacent to community. And we definitely used a lot of UTM tracking with them to understand that they were driving a tremendous amount of our net new and that we
Yeah.
needed to invest more heavily there. And then on the blog, we used both sort of this idea of how many new people were coming into the blog and thus discovering Notion via one of those posts, as
Hmm.
well as blog influenced conversions, which gave
Okay.
us a sense of how many people were landing there, reading at least one thing, and then deciding to sign up.